You went off on your attorney, Taylor. You went crazy on your attorney.
Courtrooms are not just a place for legal arguments and verdicts. They can also be the scenes of violent attacks. We're breaking down 5 times criminal defendants lashed out at attorneys in open court. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law&Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. Now, before we start, I do want to let you know that for some of these videos, we won't be able to actually show you the assault, the actual hitting. YouTube, very, very serious about showing violence on screen. We respect that. We want to make sure we follow the rules, but we also still want to bring you these crazy courtroom moments. So with that, let's get into it. So being a lawyer is not easy. And I tell you this from experience. Law school, the bar exam, the practice of law. It's a lot of hours, study. It can be grueling. There's a ton of pressure. One thing I never thought of, though, was getting physically attacked for being a lawyer. Gotta say, the lawyers that we're about to discuss, they probably didn't think that this would happen to them either. We're going to go over the 5 intense moments when criminal defendants literally attacked lawyers in open court. All right, so we're going to start off in Phoenix, Arizona, August 2019. And this is where defendant Lamont Payne, who was about to go on trial for assaulting a corrections officer, does something I guess you could say is pretty ironic when you think about his charge. So this was the first day of jury selection, and Payne was represented by public defender Vladimir Gajic. And it seemed that Payne wasn't too happy with how proceedings were going, particularly upset about his lawyer, and was even interrupting the judge.
Just because
my lawyer ain't gonna speak up. It's plain and simple.
Sir?
You asked him a question just a minute ago about... Sir? I've been giving him questions. He won't speak up.
Sir, that's because it's not his turn to ask questions.
Now, Gajic spoke to KTVK, a local news station, and said he recalled Payne was, quote, swearing and rolling his eyes and making a scene and just causing a commotion and being a troublemaker. So the judge orders Payne to leave the courtroom. And without any warning, he just punches Gajic, his attorney, in the face.
If you continue to have outbursts, I'm going to have to remove you from
Now
the
it's
courtroom.
appropriate time. I keep telling you he's a problem.
Deputy, please remove him.
That's
It's a pretty hard hit. And Gajic suffered a bloody nose, but he was otherwise okay. He told KTVK, quote, I remember checking my teeth and then realizing they're all there. I didn't feel any force. I didn't feel like pain or anything like that. It was just salty because you're tasting somebody's skin. It's kind of gross, but that's what I remember. Now, Gajic filed assault charges. And get this, his contract with the Maricopa County Public Defense Service, it was suspended a few months later. Yeah, Gajic filed a lawsuit over that, saying he was never given a reason for the suspension. However, a spokesperson with Maricopa County released a statement saying, quote, a contract might be placed on temporary hold if there are complaints from clients or family members, the attorney provides poor representation, or they are carrying too many cases. Mr. Gajic's contract was placed on temporary hold after multiple complaints about his lack of communication with clients, another attorney, and PDS. Gajic's response to ABC 15, quote, what message are they giving to all the attorneys? That we are disposable, even less than disposable to that office? Interesting case. Hey, everybody, this is a Morgan & Morgan legal alert. Evidence shows that Google has allegedly violated the privacy of millions of Americans via incognito mode. Your personal information and data may have been unfairly collected and then used for profit. As America's largest injury law firm, Morgan & Morgan has recovered over $20 billion in compensation for clients, and they may be able to help you fight for justice. If you've used incognito mode in Google's Chrome internet browser, you can find out if you have a claim in only a few clicks by visiting www.forthepeople.com/LCGoogle. It only takes a few minutes to sign up and find out if you have a claim. Okay, now going to Cleveland, Ohio, again, 2019. And defendant David Chiselton is in court for assault and arson charges after he hit his girlfriend with a gun and set fire to an apartment complex. It was an event that actually culminated in a standoff with police. Very serious case here. The very serious punishment, because Common Pleas Court Judge Nancy Margaret Russo sentenced Chiselton to 47 years in prison. Now, in the body cam footage from one of the county sheriff's deputies who was in the courtroom, you can see Chiselton standing at the podium in front of the judge. He's handcuffed, but his arms are in front of him. Now, standing next to him is his attorney, Aaron Brockler. And in the video, Chiselton, seemingly not happy with his sentence, suddenly punches Brockler with his hands, and he keeps going after him until officers rush in to get Chiselton off Brockler.
No, you messed up, right? Put your hand behind your back. Do you understand?
What do you need? Water, ice?
No, I'm good for now.
Brockler claimed that he was knocked unconscious, that he didn't remember anything, and he just woke up under the table. He actually also suffered fractures to his nose. He ended up filing a $600,000 lawsuit accusing the sheriff's deputies for failing to handcuff Chiselton behind his back. He said that their actions were reckless, and he accused Chiselton of assault and battery. And Brockler said in a statement to Cleveland.com and the Plain Dealer, quote, "As much as the suit is about my injuries being entirely avoidable, it's equally about ensuring that my colleagues can practice safely and without fear so that we can deliver the constitutional defenses that our clients deserve." It's an interesting argument saying that his client's hand should have been handcuffed behind him, not in front of him. Now, there were criminal charges filed against Chiselton for this attack. During trial, Chiselton testified that he attacked Brockler because Brockler allegedly told him he was friends with the husband of the judge who sentenced him to 47 years. So Chiselton thought that Brockler could get him a reduced sentence of like 10 years. Now, also during the trial for this attack, Chiselton's new attorney was able to argue that the injuries that were sustained by Brockler weren't as bad as Brockler claimed. And also, Brockler himself faced some pretty tough cross-examination during the trial about how his law license was suspended a few years prior. Well, the jury actually found Chiselton not guilty of felonious assault for this attack, but he's still locked away on his other sentence at the Ohio State Penitentiary in Youngstown. He's not scheduled for release until 2064. Okay, going over now to Lee County, Florida. Joseph Zieler was convicted of murdering an 11-year-old girl named Robin Cornell and her babysitter, 32-year-old Lisa Story, back in 1990. A jury recommended he be put to death. Fascinating how investigators actually caught him. He was arrested on an unrelated assault case in 2016, and when his DNA was collected, it matched to the DNA from the Cornell and Story scene. This was a wild trial, by the way, where he reportedly gave the middle finger to the camera, yelled at the jury. He was also accused of harassment after prosecutors say he attempted to stop a witness from testifying at his trial. So that's who we're dealing with, okay? So now back in June of 2023, he's in court before his official sentencing by the judge. Remember, the jury just recommended the death penalty. It's the judge who has to impose the sentence. And he motions for his attorney, Kevin Shirley, to come on over to him. Now, the deputies step away because he has a right. He has a right to a private conversation with his attorney, attorney-client privilege. Well, it turns out he didn't want to have a private conversation with his attorney. No, he wanted to hit him instead.
Shirley, are you okay?
I'm fine.
I am relaxed. I'm calm. Relax.
I used to box. I've taken a lot better shots than that.
Yeah, well, man. Relax, relax.
Elbows him right in the face. Pretty remarkable, by the way, how quickly Shirley just recovers from that. Shirley told WINK-TV, quote, "I had no idea he was going to do something like that. Obviously, he's been planning on that, but as he was going down, he said he was sorry he missed." Now, Zieler actually was petitioning the court for a retrial. You see, Florida law used to be that you needed a unanimous jury decision for the death penalty. The law has changed. Now you only need a majority vote. In Zieler's case, 10 out of the 12 jurors voted for death. Zieler argued it was an error to apply the new law to a murder case that was 30 years old. The judge, not so convinced. Zieler was denied a new trial, and the judge officially sentenced him to death. We now want to go over to New Mexico back in 2016. Okay, so Michael T. Cox Jr. was found guilty of criminal sexual contact with a minor under the age of 13. More specifically, he was convicted for inappropriately touching his girlfriend's 5-year-old daughter. Now, right after his guilty verdict, Cox's attorney and the prosecutor in this case, Deputy District Attorney Scott Key, They go up to the bench to meet privately with the judge. Now, as they finish up, and Key, again the prosecutor, walks back to his table, Cox immediately jumps up and pushes Key to the ground. In fact, he hits the podium on his way down, and then Cox throws a punch at Key. Now, it's not terribly surprising since it was Key who was able to get the conviction against Cox. Anyway, an officer who had just entered the courtroom rushes over, tries to subdue Cox, but instead of backing off, as soon as Key gets back up, he runs after Cox. And then other people get involved, including just what appears to be some random guy from the courtroom. And the judge gets off the bench and orders everyone to leave the courtroom. Cox is handcuffed. He's taken out. Just an insane scene. Cox is eventually sentenced to 18 years in prison for molesting this child. And for attacking the prosecutor and the courthouse deputy, he pled no contest to those charges. Our reporting indicates that he was sentenced to an additional 6 years in prison that will run consecutively to the 18 years, meaning he will serve that time after the 18 years. Now, we can't talk about these crazy courtroom moments without ending with the Wisconsin case of Taylor Schabusiness. The 25-year-old was convicted of killing her lover while the two had sex after she claims she did meth. Apparently, in her drug-fueled stupor, Schabusiness not only strangled 24-year-old Shad Therion with a metal chain, but sexually abused his dead body and then chopped him up into pieces. His mother came home to find her own son's bloody head in a bucket in the family's basement. Just horrible. To give you an idea, this is what she said in her interrogation with authorities, where she admits she choked him to death and dismembered him.
I'm just like, I think I went a little too far because I was blacking out while I was doing it, right? And then I look at him, I'm like, he's already purple. I'm like, fuck, I'm like, I don't know if is he good? Is he good? But then when I woke up, during the blackout moment, he was coughing up blood. I'm like, I don't know, I just kept on going.
But when did you start, cutting up his body?
I don't know, almost right away. I was sucking and cutting at the same time.
Okay. Then what about the rest of his body parts? Did that take all day? Did you?
I was getting pissed off at the dismemberment process, actually.
Did it take a while? It took a while?
Yeah, because I was nodding out. So
okay, so you're kind of sleeping, kind of nodding in and out. Have you taken any other drugs?
I should have took drugs. That probably would have helped, but I didn't.
So you dismembered the body too?
Yeah.
Well, what did you do with the body parts?
Oh, they're in the house.
Somewhere?
They're
basement, upstairs,
absolutely in the basement. I was gonna bring them with them. And then I know I forgot the head. I wanted the head.
Did you bring anything with you?
Yeah, it's in the van.
What?
It's in the van. It's what is it? I don't know, a foot maybe.
The what?
I think it's a foot.
A foot in the van?
A leg maybe. I don't know. I'm like, I'm gonna bring it all, and then I'm like, man, this is messy. So then I just left it. I got lazy.
Okay.
I got lazy, and that's what I did. So I'm like,
okay. So there's going to be maybe a foot or a leg in the van. And then, what did you do with the head?
I forgot that was in the van, so, yeah.
What did you do with the head?
The head, I put it in that bucket, that black bucket.
Black bucket?
With the blanket on top.
Okay. And then where did you leave it?
Leave the head? The head's still in the bucket. It's right by the stairs.
By the stairs?
Yeah. Keeping all of that in mind, she's in court one day, sitting next to her attorney at the time, Quinn Jolly, when the judge decides that her criminal trial needs to be delayed. And that is when, while handcuffed, she starts attacking Jolly, her attorney, hitting him with her elbow. He pushes her off. A deputy is finally able to grab her and take her to the ground, but he begins to wrestle with her. It's like she's really, really struggling here. It's disturbing to watch how this unfolds. The courtroom is eventually cleared, and the deputy's body cam captures the moments after this interaction.
You went off on your attorney, Taylor. You went crazy on your attorney.
You can't do that, dear.
You okay?
Yeah.
You're gonna stay here for a minute, all right?
Okay.
Are you able to sit up, Taylor?
She can, Mom. She's gonna stay right where she's at.
Maybe not surprisingly, and not a real shocker here, Mr. Jolly, her attorney, ends up quitting the case, removing himself from this. Now, Shabiznes did end up going to trial. She actually pleaded not guilty by reason of insanity, meaning due to a mental condition, she couldn't appreciate the wrongfulness of what she did or couldn't conform her behavior to the law. It's a way to avoid legal responsibility. A Wisconsin jury didn't buy it, though, and they found her guilty of intentional homicide, abuse of a corpse, and third-degree sexual assault. They also determined that she was not insane when she committed the crime, and a judge sentenced Shabiznes to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Like I said, courtrooms are not just about the descriptions of violent crimes. Sometimes they are the scenes of violent crimes themselves. But thank goodness we have those courtroom deputies, right, to ensure the safety of attorneys who, as you saw, are sometimes just the brunt end of the frustrations of criminal defendants. That's all we have for you here on Sidebar, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. As always, please subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Jesse Weber. Speak to you next time.